Here we go. Episode 12. This is our first live Twitch stream. We're trying this out. Nobody's here. And that's okay, because I figured for at least a couple of years we would just be talking to ourselves anyway.
Right, and it's 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning, so I mean...
On Easter morning.
So, I feel like, we need to cut our viewers some slack here,
Our 2 or 3 viewers that we have regularly that are just our friends.
Hey, they count.
Right, hey, that's our fan base. It's our friends.
All we gotta do is build our fan base, man. That's it. I just need more friends. That's what it really is.
Right? If I just didn't want my job involved in anything that we're doing here, I would just blast all of this stuff. But
yeah.
I don't need the ISD knowing my business.
Exactly. That was one of the things. It's like, I don't really want... I mean, I'm sure... it's one of those things. It's like our names are so easy to get on the internet now. It's more like, I just don't want that all out there before it needs to be,
Right.
Because you got guys who are like super famous or whatever, or internet famous. Even those guys are more famous than, say, like, they have more views than like Anderson Cooper, the guy PewDiePie. And like, you can Google his name, right? He's just the guy that lives in Sweden, Norway, whatever he lives. I don't know. Yeah, we'll get there. Don't worry about it. We'll be able to pay the LifeLock people for anti-fraud protection.
All right. Well, so yesterday I watched the end of the Baylor game.
Yeah.
Did you? It was kind of a boring game. Baylor beat the dog shit out of Houston.
I did not watch any of it. Go ahead.
That's not the point. The point was that I watched the Miley Cyrus little song thing, whatever you want to call that. I'm not gonna lie, even during like Miley Cyrus's whole hypersexualization type stuff, she was always a little girl to me, because my kids watched Hannah Montana, and so I just cannot see her that way. It's fucking weird. But I have always loved her. Her singing, it's always been my jam.
Did you swing from the chandelier and come in like a wrecking ball?
Yes. So anyway, I say all that to say that she was so good yesterday, and it wasn't hypersexualized, or it wasn't weird, because a lot of her shit, the new shit, is really overly sexual. But yesterday was really, really good. And I say all that to segue into hypersexualization of young girls. And Matt Gaetz, who is a disgusting man, apparently. It's weird, since this story came out, for those of you that don't know. So this past week, all kind of week long, this has been the chain of events. I don't know if you followed it, but I have been, because it's hilarious. I mean, not hilarious, but hilarious that it's Matt Gaetz. So the chain of events has been, there was a news story that came out that Matt Gaetz was planning on getting out of politics and going to be a news person for Newsmax. So that released, right? Then, about a couple hours later, the New York Times came out and said that Matt Gaetz is being invested for child sex trafficking. So immediately, what do you think? He's kidnapping kids, throw them in cages, running him off, pumping him full of drugs.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was made to sound like, right? Like,
right.
Oh no, he's got a dungeon somewhere, like.
Right. So, but apparently he was like, just like flying out some girl to come have sex with him. She was like 17. Anyway, so that night, so this all happens in the span of a day. That night, he goes on Tucker Carlson, and he says, you know, this is an allegation, or an extortion. Somebody's trying to get $25 million from my family. But da 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 da. The funniest thing that I thought from that whole interview with Tucker Carlson, well, there were two funny things. The funniest thing was when he tried to rope Tucker Carlson into the thing with him. He was like, remember, you met this girl, at dinner when we had dinner with your wife. And Tucker Carlson's like, whoa, I don't remember any of that. You calm down with that shit.
I guess I need to go find that one. I hadn't seen that one. That's funny.
He's like,
whoa, I don't know who you are.
Obviously, he didn't say it in those words, but he was very adamant about, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have anything to do with this. I don't know what you're talking about, but let's move on. So, and then he said, you can check my flight records. I never flew around with that woman. And so it was kind of funny where he was like very specific with his language to not lie, but it was like, I never flew with that woman. You can check my flight records. Well, that's not what they were saying. They were saying you flew her to come meet you and have sex with you or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was very funny. So
little shade there, just enjoying the guy who can't tell a joke at CPAC getting his.
So then, so apparently this thing is about to blow up. So he's like Matt Gaetz is in trouble. It was an investigation that opened up under Bill Barr. So, this isn't new. But it says the Times has reviewed receipts from Cash App, a mobile payments app, and Apple Pay that show payments from Mr. Gaetz and Mr. Greenberg to one of the women, and a payment from Mr. Greenberg to a second woman. The women told their friends that the payments were for sex and sex with the two men, according to two people familiar with the conversations. And they were apparently girls. Now, were this in Texas, all of this would be okay, because the age of consent is 17 in Texas. It's not in Florida.
I actually looked into that. Whenever you told me that, and they told me he was 17, I looked into that. So, while that's it has caveats, right? In
the
Texas.
17 legal age.
It has caveats, and the caveat is they have to be within a certain age range, right? And it's that way. It's that way in any of the states that I looked at that I think, right? There might be one weird one-off thing that's there's
so if you were if you had graduated before your sweetheart, you could
right?
Keep
So
it
was high school range, right? And I think it was 3 years. So if you were a senior and she was a freshman, you were 17 when you started dating, and then you moved up, that would actually be okay because there's a range there, is my understanding. But that is not the case for someone who is 38 and the other person is 17. So that is not the case. That is still highly illegal, even in the state of Texas, and in Alabama, and Arkansas, and any of the other states that people like to point to with having weird laws about that.
Yeah.
I think there is something also that's weird about marriage with parental consent too, but I think that only goes for marriage, not for flying somebody out and screwing them. So, if all of this is true, he absolutely should be in trouble and go to prison and all the things. I mean, it's pretty outlandish as far as the things that he is claiming, his defense, right? Like, I don't know if you read too much into that, right? So,
yeah, but he's trying to turn it into something.
yeah, I'm gonna swap it over
That it's
because,
not.
well, these are all things that are easily provable, right? And these are all things that should be easily provable because he's here saying blah 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 blah. This is where it talks about him trying to rope in Tucker Carlson. Here he's pretty specific about what is going on if his father actually was involved. And your camera went away, and I just noticed that. Sorry. Let me set this back up. I should have done this beforehand. There we go. So this is pretty interesting as far as, like, he's specific about, on the 16th we got somebody demanding money. The FBI and the DOJ was involved already at this point, so that's easily verifiable, right?
Right.
And as far as things being, held out in the court of public opinion or whatever else, like, okay, but these are criminal charges, right? That's always been kind of my standard for these things.
One thing that I thought was kind of interesting is his claim about the tape or something where his dad was wearing a wire
for the $4.5 million.
He's demanding that the tape be released and this, and I'm like, that sounds like some bullshit. Mostly because maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. But if, let's say, you say there's a tape, da 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 da, and then the FBI is like, or the DOJ is like, there isn't a tape. What are you talking about? We didn't do that, and that's a cover up, right? So it's all, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
oh, from that standpoint, it's a brilliant play because then you could say, if the FBI had a tape or didn't have a tape, he's like, well, it's under active investigation, so of course they can't release evidence of an active investigation. This is pretty serious stuff, right? I didn't do anything. Like, I have no loyalty to anyone who does any of these things, and I don't know. I thought Matt Gaetz was kind of an overgrown blowhole anyway.
Well, he was a Trump fucking.
No, I think he was more of a. He reminds me of more of Lindsey Graham opportunist type person. So it's.
But but Matt Gaetz was the first one.
He talked a lot of trash. Like, he noticed it first.
He was the first one to jump on board on the Trump train.
He noticed it first, and he made a lot of noise during hearings. But I don't think he really did anything, honestly, as far as, like, trying to get any sort of agenda done or anything, like, effective. That's just my take from somebody who wanted some things done. But he didn't put his name on any piece of legislation that had any meaning whatsoever. So
he's just a professional shit talker. That's why fucking
that's what he did.
Newsmax wanted to hire him.
So right, and that makes him a great opinion person for Newsmax to try and put on their, like, Hannity's and Carlsons, and they could have Gaetz and whoever else.
Yeah.
That makes him a great position for that. But as far as actually getting policy done, nah, man, he didn't do anything.
I've been thinking a lot about policy and, like, who does what and stuff like that. And there is a lot of online left hate being geared towards AOC right now. Yeah. And I think the issue for me is, like, AOC was never going to be that bulldog in Congress. She's never going to, like, she's good for tweets, clapbacks, and bringing attention to a movement, right? She was never going to be the bulldog that goes in and fights with everybody. That's not her. That's not her style. That's not, and there's really not one, like, real leader in that progressive caucus that is looking to push things left. I'm hoping that changes with Nina Turner. Like, I really like her. I know you weren't, like, super impressed, but I think she's very outspoken. And she's trying not to bag on AOC herself, but it's obvious that she wants to. But like it's just kind of funny where it's like I never looked to AOC to be the get after him type of person. Like she's good for tweets, she's good for clapbacks, she's good for little sayings on Twitter, but she's not gonna be like your super policy person. It's not who she is.
No, and like
she could be a good ally, good PR person. Yeah, she could try, and that's kind of what she's done. But she tried, but she's just not. She's not a bulldog.
No,
you know what I mean? Like, and what I don't mean like bulldog, like to say, something misogynist or whatever. But I mean,
are you calling her ugly?
No, and I don't think that's the mean thing that people say, but I think they say horseface, but neither here nor there.
She's no Sarah Jessica Parker. She's like a step up from that though. So
I mean, sure she's pretty. I don't think that it doesn't really matter to me. Like, I guess. So like I don't care that she's attractive. But like what I mean by bulldog is like she's not gonna like bull through everybody and to get a policy done. She's not that. I just don't see that happening from her. Like I don't think she could ever run for president.
Well, she doesn't have the political clout to do any of that either, right? Like, but I don't think anyone in Congress really does.
She's got more power than a second-term congressperson should have.
Yeah, I will give you that. But as far as being able to bulldog policy and bills,
right?
I don't think there's anyone in there who really has that ability, other than say like Pelosi.
Fucking Pelosi. Yeah,
right?
That's it.
And it's always going to be the Speaker of the House, right? Who has that power in Congress, and it's got to be in a majority held Congress.
And even the majority whip is just like a bootlicker to Pelosi. Like, his job is to whip votes for a bill, but yeah. So anyway, it's going to take some time. And I think it's going to take another like real kind of bulldog type person where they're just going to do progressive policy. And we've talked about it before where and I know I'm off topic, this is not part of the topic that we discussed earlier, and I apologize. But the progressive policies, the main ones, are very, very, very popular. And I think that a lot of people either they're not trying to hear it or they forget it, So what I mean by that is like the $15 minimum wage is a very popular position. For Democrats, it's an 80% favorability. For everyone, it's 60% favorability. Like, yeah, even Republicans.
Well, that's look at Florida. That's why the Holly plan got so much traction among Republicans too. If you recall, that was the $15 minimum wage for companies that made over $1 billion in profits.
Yeah,
that was very popular among Republicans.
They're not going to do it though.
They're not going to do it. Like,
they're not going to do it because it goes against their real constituents, which are the donors. So, and I think the only way to get around this is to pass another amendment to get politics out, or get money out of politics, and it has to be a state by state amendment. Mm-hmm. And it's just.
How do you?
It's gotta.
We'll come back to this, but I want to ask, how would you write that amendment, right? Like, is it, you just say, do you just write an amendment that say corporations aren't people? Like, I mean, how would you fix it? How could you fix that in a short amendment?
Honestly, that might work. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't know. I don't know how you would write it. There are amendments that have been written. I think like 18 states have passed something along those lines.
Well, and you had another. It was the same. I don't know if it's the same 18 states, but you've got another 16 or 18 states that have tried to pass, congressional term limits also, which also would go a big step into fixing this stagnant conundrum we found ourselves in, right? So,
or the pipeline from Congress to the lobby to K Street. That's a huge issue too. The from Congress to K Street pipeline. Like they just one right after the other. They're just going. So
yeah. Well, let's segue from bulldogs into bulldogs.
She tried.
So if anybody's been living under a rock or hasn't paid attention to this lady, even my wife, who pays no attention to politics, noticed this one. No reasonable person would conclude that her accusations of Dominion's election rigging scheme were truly statements of fact.
So the funny thing is I actually went to the bill, right?
The bill, like this right here? Or...
And I looked through it for that sentence because I wanted to see. I was like, is that real? Is that true? Did she really say that shit? No, it's in there. Yeah, no reasonable person.
Let's see. That's all the citations. Code.
It's down. It's pretty far down. Like it's through like legal standing and all this stuff. But there are two things that were kind of funny in that. Was a no reasonable person, and what was the other thing she said that was kind of funny?
Statements alleged in complaint are constitutionally protected and not actionable because Dominion is a public person. What is interesting, and I think the only person who actually has a case in all of this is the Dominion employee who was called out by some podcast guy.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you're familiar with that. He's the Eric. I don't even know if I can say his name on here, but
probably don't.
Yeah.
Probably just don't.
So anyway,
that guy.
There was a guy. He worked for Dominion. He had, I'll stop. As far as trying to identify him to let you know who I'm talking about. But there was a guy who was identified as a Dominion employee, and the claim was there was a phone call on some WhatsApp Antifa call that some guy had infiltrated or something along those lines and recorded. And they mentioned Eric, the Dominion guy. And they pinned it on this one guy who worked for Dominion who was going to, quote unquote, fix the thing. And so all of that went through causing this one guy to like go into hiding. And he's like still hiding right now. Of anyone involved in all of this, I think that guy might be the only one who has a case of defamation. Personally.
Yeah.
Now, maybe this has merit or whatever, the Dominion suit against Sidney Powell.
I don't know, man. This didn't help her.
This did not help her at all.
In my humble opinion, this doesn't help her.
No. I mean, if she'd have stayed on it, a la, Mike Lindell, and just been like, no, this is it. I believe it.
So it says straight up. On page 27, the statements at issue are protected and not actionable. It says, determining whether a statement is protected involves a two-step inquiry. Is the statement one which can be proved true or false? And would reasonable people conclude that the statement is one of fact in light of its phrasing, context, and the circumstances surrounding its publication? Analyzed under these facts, and even assuming arguendo that each of the statements alleged in the complaint could be proved true or false, no reasonable person would conclude that the statements were truly statements of fact.
You said 27?
Yeah, page 27.
Is it 27 to 54 or this 27?
54. Yeah, it's 41 of 90.
Ah, here we go.
Yeah. Oh, they're just saying it was political. It was concerning the 2020 presidential election, which was both bitter and controversial.
They cite Seacrest versus Harkin, something thus court shelter strong and even outrageous political speech. You know, it's an interesting topic that it was I think it might have been Reagan who the story goes, and I have no idea whether this is true or not, but the story goes Reagan's in his office campaigning for his campaign office, and they're trying to come up with some smear attacks on the opponent. And Reagan comes out, well, let's just call him a pig effer. And the guys are like, no, we can't do that. That's not true or whatever. And he's like, yeah, no, but he'll have to deny it publicly and it'll be fine. This is a great line of attack or something like that.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. Was that Reagan or was that Nixon?
It might have been Nixon, but it was one of those two. Yeah. I think that sounds more like
Nixon. No. I think it was LBJ. It was LBJ that did that.
Okay.
And because he was a kook. he was a bit of a kook. And so I think he was the one that were like, what are you talking about? Yeah, but I just want to see him deny it. Yeah.
He's like, yeah, no. He screws pigs. Like, this guy, he's real nasty. Like, what? You can't say that. He's like, no, I totally can. It's fine.
It's fine. So how do we... It says 16 views. What does that mean on the Twitch stream?
I don't know. Let me pull it up.
I have no followers. Oops. 1 viewer.
I think you are the viewer.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
So what does it say? 16 views.
Maybe that's how many videos I've watched.
Yeah, it could be. Could be how many people have clicked through.
All right. It's up from 14, which is just a few seconds ago. Yeah. So, who's to say?
Block that. Show this. All right, here we go. Next up in our lineup here, I thought this was hilarious. This is why businesses should not get involved in politics, especially when they are reliant on said politics for tax breaks.
Wow. Man. Hold on, let me read that. Let me look at that. That's...
So...
It's at the top of the page, right?
Yeah. It's the one from... It's the top one. I mostly thought this was hilarious.
So Delta complained about the new voting bill.
And the House said, "Oh, you don't like it? Well, I feel like we could use our tax dollars back."
Well, Atlanta, they film a lot of movies and TV in Atlanta.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff
Georgia.
that could.
And so, like, if Hollywood ever decided to pull out of Georgia, it would cost them a lot of money.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see what happens here. Because I know that they have, like, there's a lot of stuff filmed in Atlanta and in Georgia in general. So I'd really be interested to see what happens. But I do find it kind of funny that, man, I don't know if you've ever been to the Atlanta airport, but it is a major hub.
Yeah.
And if you're getting screwed on out of tax breaks from their hub, is Delta, are they based in Georgia? Like Southwest is kind of based here?
I don't know.
Let's see, they started here?
Delta Airlines base. Key hubs. Headquarters is Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So, Southwest Airlines is here in DFW. Like they started here, I think, and so their main headquarters is here. At least it was last I looked. I haven't really kept up with that stuff. When I was selling cars, I knew we sold a lot of cars to American Airlines employees because we had like a huge discount with them with their union stuff. And so I kind of kept up with a lot of the pilot stuff because, they are usually doing pretty well. So, but that's really interesting.
Yeah, he's basically, I need to make it crystal clear that the final bill is unacceptable and does not match Delta's values. So he's just talking points because apparently the same CEO was fine with him writing it, was involved in the authoring of this bill or something So at first they were cool with it. And then, after it became popular to not be, now they're not. Which is fine. I mean, that's what businesses do, right? They're really just trying to make $1 at the end of the day. Okay.
That's all I've been saying.
Yeah, that's
I
it,
don't
right?
care.
So, but if it ends up costing you hundreds of millions of dollars in taxes, what have you gained? Because it's not like in today's world, suddenly people are just going to be filling up the flights for Delta now. They still have that same crappy coach. They still have the same terrible food on their planes. Dude, we flew back from Delta. Okay, I'm just gonna shit on Delta for a second. So when wife and I traveled, to Japan, I guess 2 years ago now. We flew American there. It's a great flight, right? The food, the accommodations, or whatever. Even in coach, riding coach for 12 or 14 hours, was fine, right? It was a long flight, and I was kind of miserable by the end of it. But that's because I was on an airplane for 14 hours. Coming back, it was a shorter flight, right? Coming back, it was a shorter flight, and it sucked so much worse. Delta had less leg room. They had worse food. The staff was more ambivalent, they just didn't care, so less service rounds. It just wasn't as good of a flight. Now granted, I'm riding coach because I'm cheap and it's expensive already to book a flight to Japan, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, you know what? Yeah, we're not flying Delta anymore. I was already done with them back then just because I had a bad experience. This plane is in crap condition, and we're flying over the Pacific Ocean.
I used to fly all the time. All the time. I have never flown Delta.
Yeah.
Not even once. My microphone is about to fall.
So, in any case, down here at the end it says the Georgia Senate adjourned in 2021 before taking up consideration of the measure, meaning it's dead for now and will not become law. So it's not happening. But it's a definitive shot across the bow to like, hey, stay out of it. As far as what I see.
Yeah. Well, that's until they turn Georgia blue. But in order to do that, you have to vote. You got to be able to vote. I don't know. I think the reality is that if you set high expectations, you get high results. And so if you just say, this is what we have to do now, people will still find a way to vote. I think it's ridiculous because I think we should be finding ways to make it easier to vote instead of more difficult, but that's just me.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
So I've been like reading up on Fred Hampton. Did you watch the Judas and the Black Messiah? I think that's what it's called. It's a Fred Hampton story.
No.
It's a movie that it was on HBO in February. They took it down. But it's the story of Fred Hampton. He was a Black Panther Party leader in Chicago.
Yeah, I'll pull it up here. Fred Hampton.
And
48 to 69 American activist, Marxist-Leninist, and revolutionary socialist. He came to prominence in Chicago as chairman of the Illinois chapter of the Black Panther Party. Deputy chairman of the BPP. In this capacity, he founded the Rainbow Coalition. Initially included Black Panthers, Young Patriots, and the Young Lords. An American...
Dude was like 21 years old and like an amazing orator. I mean, he, you know, like it's like I've been watching like the actual footage of him, not really like the videos, movie stuff, but man, the dude was pretty legit. Like when he went to court and he was more about like solidarity between black people, poor whites, Asians, Indians, like Hispanics, Latinos. Like he was like, if they figure out that when we all get together, like I don't know, he's kind of an interesting person, and the FBI like really went after him. Ended up killing him.
Yeah, that's what it says right here. Hampton was drugged, shot, and killed in his bed during a pre-dawn raid at his Chicago apartment by a tactical unit of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office in conjunction with Chicago Police and the FBI. Law enforcement sprayed more than 80 rounds through the apartment. Occupants fired once.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Like it's a pretty crazy story, but it's an interesting bit of history to look into if you ever get a minute. Anyway, I follow this dude on. The reason I said that is I follow this guy on Twitter called I'm a Fred Hampton leftist, and
you're like, hey, who's that?
Yeah, that's actually kind of how that happened. I was like, who's Fred Hampton? And so I got, what's a Fred Hampton leftist? Oh, dude is cool. Anyway, that's the side note. Has nothing to do with all the other stuff that we're going over. Just like, I don't know, it's just kind of, I think his birthday or something was recently, and so it kind of did like or the day of his death. So, it was on TV. And, yeah. I mean, that shit wasn't that long ago. That's the crazy part, when you think about, like, how they go after people like that.
Yeah.
The government.
Yeah.
So.
It's just too bad he didn't have a compound up on the hill they could burn down. Oh, sorry. That's the thing, is that anytime groups have coalesced and armed themselves as a this guy is described on here as a revolutionary, whatever. You had the Oregon people who took over the tax office. I don't know, government comes in and just wipes them out.
Yeah.
And so, to me, this is just...
It can never be a threat to power.
Right.
Ever.
Well, it comes back to everything I've ever said about, be wary of the powers you give to the government, because they will abuse them, because people are involved. People will abuse their power.
Yeah.
I can hear the babbling from the other room. It's cute.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents. I'll read up on this guy. This is cool. What was the name of that movie again? You said? Or film? Docu-series?
Judas and the Black Messiah? Something like that?
Something like that.
I didn't even finish the movie. I ended up finding YouTube channels and old video of him.
Right. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Speeches and whatnot. But it was kind of interesting, man. To join their party and to join their movement, they had to go through 6 months of de-education and education. Where he's you're not just going to follow blindly. You're going to, you need to educate yourselves. And
you're going to learn about this. You're going to learn about what this is. Blah, blah, blah.
Right. Because he was we're not going to fight capitalism with capitalism. We're going to fight capitalism with socialism. We're not going to fight racism with racism. We're going to fight racism with solidarity. So, I don't know, man. It is kind of he was really, really young and kind of, did a lot in just a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Just, good die young. Anyway. Moving on. Destroying racist highways.
Yeah. Let's... was it this one? Yeah, and this one. So this was the cited article in that first one. Alright, let me pull it up. Here we go. This is what I saw on there. And I was curious because, again, this is Breitbart. This is their slanted piece. So I pulled up... did I pull it up? White House cited the Claiborne X-ray. There was a citation in here I thought I'd pulled open, but I guess I didn't. No, I did. Where's it at? In any case, so I was curious as to why these things were racist, and I guess I might have answered my question while I was reading all about this. So it basically is that we ran these highway through neighborhoods to move business, and they moved businesses, they moved traffic away from businesses to hurt them, and then you had to deal with the road noise and construction for years. I guess that's what I got out of this. I don't know if I'm missing something else, or if you had a chance to read through this.
Oh, yeah. So they're what?
So here it says,
so
black and brown neighborhoods have been disproportionately
is...
divided by highway projects, are left isolated by the lack of adequate transit and transportation resources.
I think what they're saying, because man, they're there are some highways that run right through some neighborhoods. I mean, here, and I think it a lot of the stuff stems back to the redlining, like the old racist stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of makes sense. Like, you know, when I-30 splits Dallas in half, and then the north side of I-30 is the more wealthy side, and the south side of I-30 is the poor side. And the poor side is home to mostly black and brown people.
Well, even that area is becoming gentrified now. I mean,
the north side of that area. It's North Oak Cliff is getting a huge facelift, and the rents are going up and the taxes are going up, and it's who's to say?
Yeah.
It's I lived not downtown, but I lived in Dallas before moving to the suburbs. And I loved it. I loved living downtown. I could walk to the grocery store if I wanted to. I could walk, I could get on my bicycle and I could ride around the lake. We had nice trails and it was fantastic. Well, when
here it is.
When the kids and wife, we wanted to get a bigger house, I could get a 1-bedroom apartment in Dallas, in the area that I wanted to live, for the same price I could get a 4-bedroom house in the suburbs. I don't know what I'm supposed to do there. I have to move to the suburbs. Yeah. Like, we needed the space. We were a growing family.
You don't get to live downtown and have a big house unless you're really, really wealthy. I mean, that's just property value.
Well, it wasn't. I'm not even downtown. Like I was East Dallas, like not even downtown, but that area there.
Yeah, you were East Dallas towards Deep Ellum and everything else, weren't you?
I was past Deep Ellum.
Okay, yeah.
The Lakewood area.
Yeah.
Which is, I wasn't quite to Lakewood. I was like in between Deep Ellum and Lakewood. And Lakewood's really, 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 really expensive.
Dude, I still think about. Speaking of Deep Ellum, I still think about that Non-Point concert every now and then we went to, and that little bitty.
That was a great show.
In Trees, I think we were in Trees.
Yeah.
I still think about that. Anyway, continue.
That was a great show.
Was.
Wasn't Vinnie Paul there from Pantera, like up in the balcony?
Yeah.
Didn't we see Vinnie Paul?
He was sitting up behind us, and we were down in the scrub seats. Yeah.
Yeah. That was good times.
That was a good night.
Good times. Non-Point. I haven't thought about Non-Point in a minute.
Right?
Go back and listen.
Go back and check it out. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted what you were talking about. Important. Living downtown. So this is the bill I was looking for. The paper I was looking for. Go ahead.
My point is that the redlining and all of those highways that got built really were built to separate. So there's a part of me that actually does really agree with racial highways. Like, it sounds ridiculous, but I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of those interstates and things that tore through neighborhoods, like, while they're great for convenience and whatnot, they are meant to separate. Like, they were meant to separate. And this is your side, this is our side type.
Do you think the railroads were also meant to separate then? Because, like in the small towns, you always have the other side of the tracks.
Yeah.
Were the railroads meant to do that, or did it naturally occur as people bought houses and moved in various areas?
I wouldn't say naturally. Right?
Well, in some cases, no. but yes, because I mean, obviously the redlining happened, the blockbusting happened. You know, that's not what I'm saying. But you can't say that happened in every instance of neighborhood migration.
Well, and then people move in close to their neighbors, right?
Right.
And people,
hey, I'm friends with Jim Bob. I'm gonna go move over and live there because our friends, our family, our kids are friends. Whatever. But
right. And then you have kids. They grow up, they move out of their parents' house, and they want to stay close to mom and dad. And it's a kind of a natural expansion, but it stays in the area. And so, I don't know, man. Like it's.
I guess what I'm saying is like I can't attribute every small town and every city across this entire country to having that such widespread experiences with the things that you're talking about, be it the railroad and roads splitting the neighborhoods or whatever, driving through the neighborhoods and saying that in every city that this ever occurred in, it was a result of either the blockbusting or redlining. I don't accept that. That's not something that would happen in such and across the entire country, right? Now, sure, it happened in various areas in different states.
Absolutely happened across the entire country.
In every single city.
Where the fuck do you think you're talking about?
In every neighborhood.
America. That's not every neighborhood.
No, that's the claim then, right? That all of these segregations across highways and across roads and across bridges or across railways happen because of racial practices. I don't accept that. I don't accept that every single one of them was a result of that. Some of them, sure, yeah, I'll take that. I know that happened, right? But to say that it's every single one of them, no, that's ridiculous.
How would you? Okay, so how would you be able to say that this one in particular is not racist or this one is because the reality is when they built these highways, when they built the freeways, when they built the interstate, like they went through neighborhoods. Mm-hmm. Like they built the interstate in California, yep. And it went through the black and brown neighborhoods and destroyed them, right? And so then they have to move because they get eminent domain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we planned it to go through this neighborhood, and we planned it to go through this neighborhood. Yeah.
And
hold on, no. Let me ask this question: should the question for where the roads get built be based on ease of access or property values?
I would say ease of access.
Exactly. So does it make sense?
Equitable ease of access.
Does it make sense then to go build this highway through the hills where the rich people are living, or through the valley where it's nice and easy to get your tractors?
I think there were ways to do it that they chose not to.
I agree with that.
But
if you're thinking of it from a strictly...
They chose to go through the brown neighborhoods. Like, man, honestly, a good thing to watch is it's on Showtime. And one of the big controversies is it was in the 30s, and they were building highways out in California, and they were trying to go through the brown neighborhoods, and the brown people were fighting back. And they found a way to redirect the highway. And it made a lot of people upset. Even though it was like unoccupied land could have gone around and not gone through the brown neighborhood. The show that I was watching, is the Penny Dreadful City of Angels, and just kind of how, like, obviously it's a fantasy show, but
I was gonna say it sounds like a good source for historical accuracy.
But well, you know me, like if I see something interesting on a weird show, I'm gonna go look up how accurate it is, how real is this, like. That's just what I do. Like when my wife was watching Rain. Have you ever seen that show, Rain? It's about Mary Queen of Scots.
No. I don't watch a lot of British shows.
It's not British. It was on the WB or the CW. I still call it the WB because I'm an old ass. Anyway, the CW. So Rain was this show that's about Mary Queen of Scots, and they take very creative license. Because I'm watching the show, I'm like, that's not what happened. Hold on a second. And so I start Googling. I'm like, Catherine Medici wouldn't have done that. Hold on.
Yeah.
So that's who I am. If I see something that's kind of interesting like that, then I'm gonna look it up and check the validity and see what the actual story is. Because obviously people take creative license, but no, that was real. Like they on purpose, and because the Nazi party was actually kind of huge in California. They tried to get a foothold, trying to build things here in America, giving politicians money.
Well, yeah.
Excuse me.
Even back in the 20s and 30s, like in Hollywood, the Communist Party, the Nazi Party, late 30s. Yeah, they were absolutely prevalent because that was where the heart of the culture was, right? So that was where they wanted control.
They really tried to get footholds here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't like how you lumped in the Communist Party with the Nazi Party. But
it's the same thing.
Motherfucker. No, it ain't.
Yeah, no, they're exactly the same.
No,
moving on. Oh, you're right. The communists killed way more people. Sorry.
Than who?
The Nazis.
Than America?
Yeah, that too. Than America. Also more than America.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway,
no.
We could go on this all day.
Because if you just take in American slavery, then yeah, no, it's not the same. Not even close. Hundreds of millions of black people, America. Millions. So no, not even close. If you want to talk about death toll. You want to talk about the continued death toll in fucking Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, so forth and so on that America perpetuates around the fucking world. We can talk about that too.
How many babies are dead out of China from communism?
I don't know.
And their shit. Yeah, I don't know.
But I do know how many fucking we've killed.
Mm-hmm.
Millions.
Mm-hmm.
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 And China's not communist. China's capitalist. They like to say they're communist, but they're capitalist.
They are authoritarian.
Right. Capitalist. State capitalist. That's what it is. State capitalism.
It's a great marriage between the corporation and the state. And you can say it's capitalist. So imagine this. We're getting way off topic here. So you have a business, and on your board, you have a pastor on this board now. And you have to do everything that this pastor says to keep in line with the authoritative church that really controls your company. So you can make some decisions, but if that pastor says anything, you have to do exactly what he says. How is that capitalism?
If you participate in the markets.
Oh, so all it takes is market participation? Oh, it's kind of like the infrastructure bill where anything you decide can be infrastructure then, right?
Yeah. Actually.
So you just decide it's capitalism?
Well, you just decide it's communism?
Well, it is.
What's communistic about it? In China, do the workers own the means of production? and their specific company, or does the state own it? It's not fucking communism. Communism is worker-owned means of fucking production.
It's authoritarian socialism then, right?
It's not socialism.
The workers own the means of production?
Correct. It's authoritarian capitalism. They trade capital throughout the country. Mm-hmm. The government owns all of the capital. They decide what to do with it.
Yeah, that's communism.
No, motherfucker, that's not communism. That's not, sorry for saying motherfucker. You're not a motherfucker. I'm sorry. It's not communism. It's capitalism. It's authoritarian capitalism. Because it's run through capital. Several people have more power than everybody else.
Yeah, the party members.
Right.
Which are communist party members.
Just because they call themselves communist doesn't make them communist.
No, it always turns out that way, though.
Nowhere on earth has there ever been a socialist community or a communist community or a state.
You mean state?
Nowhere.
Because there have been socialist communities, right? But that's exactly the point. Is that it's not scalable.
Because I don't think when they go through this, they don't take into account the actual workplace. I think that's been the problem. And that's why I think that the only way to really do it is to just start and actually letting the market decide and just start opening more and more worker co-ops. Because it's the least violent way to sway people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I think the market will eventually say, if you get more and more of those things out there, people will want to work for those types of places more and more often. And that's the only way to really take over. That's what I think.
I will accept that you are correct. No country has ever successfully implemented socialism or communism, which is why I'm always surprised that people keep trying to do it, because it shows a level of arrogance that I just find unfathomable. That, hey, these hundreds of millions of people have tried it and weren't able to get it right, but this time we're smarter and we're better than everyone else who's ever tried this before, and we're going to figure it out.
So yeah, I think that's the best way to do it, honestly. And yeah, I would keep trying, because obviously there's some things wrong with capitalism. Otherwise people wouldn't be, obviously you wouldn't have just this constant level of inequity. You wouldn't have a class of oppressors. Obviously there's something fucking wrong. Obviously people are sick of the way the fucking things are, and they want things to change for over 100 years.
Is it true that in any peer group, there is a hierarchy? Like a power struggle, dominance, whatever you want to call it. Does that occur naturally in any peer group? Or usually you'll have one person that'll talk a lot, and then they'll say, hey, let's go to this bar, and everyone just kind of follows along. So things like that occur naturally, right? And so things like that also occur on like a grander scale. Do they not?
Okay. I'm listening.
So the idea that there will ever be a true equality among people, because people are not equal in a sense of how they behave and how they interact with one another. Like, not everybody behaves the same, is what I'm trying to say. Not that people are not equal, obviously, rights and all that other stuff. That's not what I'm trying to say.
So I appreciate you
like, people are different,
because
right?
That's why I think you should have democracy in the workplace. So yes, people are different, but we have democratically elected leaders. We have democratically elected so and so. The only place that we still have tyranny is in the workplace. And so I think there should be democracy in the workplace.
Yeah, and we've talked about that as far as tyranny in the workplace. Yes, you can be terrorized at the workplace and hostile environments and all that other stuff. And I just come back to those things are like illegal now, and you don't have to put up with that. And the other thing I think is different is that like nobody's holding a gun at your head to like keep you there at work.
Right? No, it's definitely there's no guns at your head, but there's definitely a lot of propaganda, and there's definitely a lot of manufacturing of consent that goes into
scale too, right? So
I mean think about this Amazon shit that's going on right now. How hard has Amazon, the company, been going at Twitter, been going at like advertisements, been going to try and prove, spent so much money to try and prove that they're a good company, instead of letting it just roll. Like they spend a lot of money, so that's part of it. No, this is a great place to work. We don't treat anybody like shit. We let people go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that's a great place to work. We let you go to the bathroom. How fucking telling is that? Like, come on, people, have a little bit of a brain here. And I'm sorry, like, no, screw those guys.
But like it costs money to move. Like we've talked about it before. I would have left this country fucking 4 years ago.
Yeah, but other countries have immigration laws.
If it were equitable to do so, it has nothing to do with immigration. It has to do with my ability to pack up and move. Like that shit's expensive.
Yeah, show up somewhere and you'll find out about their immigration laws then.
Right, I was just gonna show up.
Show up, and figure out how that works. Yeah, I mean that happens here, right? That's the expectation. You just show up here and hey, come on in. Yeah, no, we'll put you under a bridge. Did you see that video?
No.
Yeah, no. There's a migrant processing center. It's literally underneath a bridge in South Texas, and they're just wrapped up in the little NASA blankets. People look like little wrapped up tinfoil. Like a casserole inside these fenced-off areas underneath a bridge.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the Democrat policy right there.
Well, I mean,
they put a smiley face on the door to show you how happy these people are, and they're still wrapped up in these little rooms with their little foil blankets stacked on top of each other. It's terrible.
Yeah. I can't speak to immigration policy because I think there should be a better way to immigrate to this country. I don't think it should be as lengthy, as difficult. I mean, honestly, I would like to see a one world economy where there are no lines drawn in the sand. There's no imaginary line, like for land. Honestly, I think we'd all get along just fine. We're all just one people. We're all humans. Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit where you were born? That's just what I think. Like, we were really lucky to be born in America, right? We were very, very lucky to be born here. We have lots of nice things, right? Other people aren't so lucky, so they want to try and fix that, right? I don't know. I don't think it should be that difficult.
Let me ask this question. If this is such a terrible place, how terrible is everywhere else for people to want to come here in droves?
Fucking terrible.
Fucking terrible. So,
And,
you have to ask yourself, why...
It's easier to get here than it is easy to get to somewhere that, like Canada. Somewhere that has fucking healthcare.
But there's plenty of people immigrating to Canada, but to do that, you have to have money. Which is why the rich Asians are doing it. Because you can buy your citizenship.
And the rich Nigerians.
You can buy your citizenship into Canada. Which is why the housing prices in, say, like Vancouver are off the rails. You know?
Right.
Because there's so much money in those places, you know. So I mean, like, I don't really want that. I don't want to, like, I mean, sure, it'd be cool if I could sell this house for like $2 million to some, you know, rich Chinese guy, but like, I'm not gonna be able to do that in this town. I don't live in, you know, a big city.
Yeah.
So
I am. Yeah. I'm just saying that if I could afford to leave, I would have been gone 4 years ago. I would like. What I would have dipped. I would have dipped when I thought we were going to war with Iran. But it's not economically feasible for me. So I didn't.
And that's how I know that you didn't take it seriously. Because if I don't know, I feel like if you had, you would have left and been like, "Damn, the consequences. We want to survive." And obviously, it wasn't to that point.
Right. That's very valid. It's very valid. But I'll be honest with you. I do want to live somewhere where they have fucking healthcare. Like, where I don't have to spend fucking $7,000 for my son's knee surgery. Where I don't have to go drop $250 just to see the ear, nose, throat doctors for him to say, "Yep, that's infected. Here's some amoxicillin." Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous.
I agree.
Like, so, yeah, if I could fucking leave, I would. Honestly, there are times where I just want to leave Texas because it's red as fuck here.
You can move to Georgia.
I could.
Let's get back on track. We've been off for a little bit. I guess that's my fault.
Your snarky shit.
Me and my snarky shit. And again, for this stuff, I'm mostly just playing devil's advocate because I really don't know. Like, I don't know what all is going on here.
Well, I'd be interested to see where that goes, honestly. I think there are definitely separations that happened, and so there are. I would like to see how they're going to, go about what they're doing next.
Yeah. One thing about this I'm not happy about is this right here, where they basically halted the I-45 improvements across Houston. Now, I do know this area. In this area here, the biggest changes that would happen to I-45. Now, again, this is like, here's from Sheila Jackson Lee, and actually, you know what? Hold on a second. I can pull this up and show you. This is way south of Houston.
So that letter's just saying that they're pausing.
Yeah, so they're pausing
highway.
And yeah, so this thing here, I mean, it shows you kind of the pumping station. This is downtown Houston here, and this is where I-45 comes in, and then it loops around downtown. You know where this is, right? And so south of here, this is where it goes to Galveston from Houston. And then down to 88, and then the Beltway's here, not pictured. It runs kind of like right here, 610, and then Beltway 8's like way over here. So over here, I think is 5th Ward, and this is a predominantly black and brown neighborhood, as it's called, right? And this is the east side. So Studemont Park right here, or Allen Parkway, Studemont here. So this is Washington. This is where all the bars are. And then down here, I think is the Montrose area, which if you're familiar with Houston at all, you know that area. Is the mostly LGBTQ community and high percentage of that population living in this area. So my understanding of this project is that it actually builds up this road right here through downtown, because it essentially is a 2-lane highway right here, and both going north and south, and the 288 and 69 on-ramps here are highly congested. And when I say highly congested, we're talking downtown traffic, single-lane roads, all going through downtown. So there were some changes on this as far as what I was aware of, but all of this needed to happen. Now, I don't know what they were planning to do. My understanding is that I guess they had planned to move I-45 over to the east side and go through 5th Ward. But the existing highway goes this way. So I don't know if they were trying to go around downtown this way here, and maybe that's why they stopped it. I'm not 100%. I can't seem to find the actual planning map.
The proposal.
Yeah. Pull this up. Yeah. So there's Montrose. This is actually a very rich neighborhood. This is the 69, the 288 on-ramp. So going backwards. Yeah, so Montrose is here. That means that downtown should be over here, and this should be looking south. So none of this area here is predominantly black or brown. This is down by the stadium, so like NRG football stadium is kind of off Fannin, and that's this area here. Are you playing? I can't even tell. Play. So yeah, coming in downtown. So this area here is like where the Beltway is. This is looking to the north to downtown. Like what I'm saying basically is that I don't know that any of this is actually like why they paused this. So this is the George R. Brown Stadium. So yeah, this is the Beltway that goes around the south end of downtown, changing I-45. So this would be a change, that I-45 would come around where the existing highways are. So yeah, that means that this road would come around here and then follow Beltway 8 on existing roads here. They built up a nice little park over the road. Yeah. Like all this would be really nice to have. And this project has been in the works just through state funding and city funding.
So that's going south or that's going north?
So we are looking north is to the left over here, and this is looking to east. And these red roads here, I think, kind of already exist. This is like 59, 69.
So the yellow is new, and the
Yellow,
orange
I think, is new. Orange is new connectors, and I think red is existing.
Okay. But that looks like a fucking nightmare.
This looks like some of the on-ramps in Dallas, honestly. Like,
oh my sweet baby Jesus! Like
there
that's...
you go. The Hardy exists. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's a new connector to the Hardy Toll Road.
Okay, this is okay. So this is where 10 and 45 separate, going into downtown, right?
Yeah, from the east side. So like towards Beaumont and Shreveport.
Yeah. That part isn't what really gets confusing when I'm coming down. It's It's the once you get downtown, like,
Yeah.
and you go up, drive by the BMW store right there.
Yeah, and that's
You know
what you're talking about is right here, where it comes in, you merge with I-10, the I-10 merger, and then the immediate off-ramp on I-10 going east, and then you're coming into downtown, and
Like,
there's
yeah,
like 4
that,
lanes, and 3 of them go away, and then you
yeah.
make the
Well,
loop around
they
that
all
one
exit
building.
off left, and you have to make sure that you're in the right lane, or you're gonna be screwed for life.
Yeah, you got to get in the
And
middle
like,
lane, or you're gonna get dumped out downtown, and you're just like stuck there.
yeah,
And you have to like
yeah.
take
No, I
Jefferson all the way
remember.
down. Yeah,
Yeah, if it's going downtown like that, I can see how that would need some major improvements. I mean, I don't know what. Obviously, I'm not familiar with all of the.
yeah. I guess what I am
All the issues are.
confused as to why all of this, unless there's like a neighborhood that I'm unaware of on this side of town that is like going to be negatively affected, but like all of this is industrial park over here. So
Yeah, who generally lives close to industrial park?
it's poorer property values, so poorer people.
Yeah,
I guess. Yeah.
poor people. Poor people.
You're right. We should just level these buildings. The road would be so much more efficient if we could just go straight through the downtown region. Just cut a hole right here, right through the aquarium here.
See there?
Yeah.
You're already.
This is the old highway, by the way.
Instead of demolishing houses, just demolish some of those big buildings. Duh. So pull up that map again.
Yep. Is it this one? Nope.
So where's? That's not the map.
There it is.
So if you just take this line where 45 and 10 separate right here and just draw a straight line through all the way down to 45 down here, I mean, that's mostly just through downtown. And it's just, that's really rich people anyway. So
they're not
let's
going to
just
do that
put
because City Hall's like right here.
Yeah, just put it right over the top of City Hall. It'll be fine.
I mean, I'd be okay with that.
You just plow right through everything, and then connect it right there, and go. See?
I don't think you use a plow at that point. I think you have to use like C4 or construction demolitions.
Yeah.
Yeah. At that point, you just.
You just. I mean.
And then you can
cut holes in all their buildings, right? It'll be fine. It's essentially the same thing that they're trying to do to the poor people. Same. Go ahead.
Here, this one's a little bit better here. This map. So here's your I-45 coming down. There's 610. There's the Beltway. And then
that's the part I hate anyway. Is that hard corner right there? Like it gets kind of scary because people are going 70 miles an hour when I'm coming through, and it buildings high on either side. Just go straight through there. It's just a straight line, quickest point from A to B, straight line.
That's true. I mean, the area you were seeing is actually it's not pictured on this map. So this is 610. Where we were looking at is down here on the bottom of that loop, way over here, off the map. That's never a problem for me. No, well, and for you, I go a different way out of Houston, but
I'm always just going through, like I don't, and but this where 288 and 59, 69 and 45, this area right here, the worst, right here, coming out of downtown is a cluster. Like that's the part I hate. And seriously, and that corner right there, that curve is frightening because, like you said, it goes from like 4 lanes down to 2, and they just kind of split off to the left. And you're like coming through, going 60 miles an hour down, and swoop up to the right. Yeah. Yeah, and if you're in the left lane because you're flying through, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is an exit, I gotta get over.
Yeah. The worst part is like right here. Let's see if I can show you here. So that curve is even worse because right here at the end of the curve, there's an on ramp, and if you ever have to take that on ramp, that is terrifying. like you're on the like the little side street, and you are trying to like get up to highway speed so you can merge safely, and you have, let's just say the old Ford could not do it.
Yeah.
The old V6 Ford, just it's got a gap in its acceleration from about like 40 to 70. So you weren't making it. You were just kind of getting on the road and hoping for the best, because that on ramp is like, oh, you're on an on ramp and now you're on the highway and there's no area to merge. So yeah, I'm actually kind of ticked off that they are delaying this, but whatever. It wasn't going to get done in 20 years anyway.
Right. No, they've been working on like I-35 and loop 635 up here for like as long as I've been alive. So whatever.
Yeah. Well, and it's been a constant state of, God, I remember when I came up not that long ago, like going from your house, and then we went to Arlington, and like going over through the I-30 construction was just not fun. That was terrible.
And terrifying. I will say that the improvements there at 3035 E, like those have been pretty good. Like, I mean, once you figure out what you're doing, it's pretty good. Like,
it wasn't bad the last time I was there.
When they changed everything at first, and I've been used to doing things a certain way, and then they opened up the highway, and then it was different. That I got lost. Yeah. I went the wrong way.
Did you see the major complaints? And I'll just pop this up. So we got infrastructure bill, what we're talking about. Back to this. Splitting neighborhoods. Of course, I'm complaining about the Houston thing. And then, so this right here, I know we talked about reconciliation. So that's what this is actually talking about. Doing a second reconciliation to pass this through the Senate, I guess.
Yeah, I would have to, because you've got enough of a majority in the House.
Yeah, and so, but even for that, what this mentions is like, of course, you've got the quote unquote moderate Democrats who are like unconfirmed as far as what their stuff is going to be.
I found something really funny about that moderate Democrats and who and the complaint has always been, well, I have to vote this way because that's the way the moderate my constituency votes, so I have to do it like this. And then you look at the favorability rating in Arizona for one cutesy Kirsten Sinema. After her little bob. So after that happened for the $15 minimum wage, her favorability in Arizona has plummeted. Mm-hmm. The other guy who voted for it has pretty much stayed the same. He's kind of leveled off. But the Kirsten Sinema is like 39% unfavorable and only like 40% favorable.
Yeah.
And then the other people are like, meh. But when you're that high unfavorable, like they hate you, like that's not a good look for a senator.
No. No, it's not. It's not. I find it...
I don't know. I kind of found that funny. Like, this be. So that's my point. It's like, you don't have to be moderate. Like, people in West Virginia and people in Arizona and Florida, Trump won Florida by like 50%. Like, he crushed in Florida, and they still voted to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is a very, very popular policy. So when you're like, we're being wishy-washy about your policy, it sounds to me like you're being disingenuous just to be a butt. I don't know. Just to be a contrarian, like Joe Manchin. Like, fuck you, dude. You don't have to be like that. The people in your state want this.
Like I said,
why are you being an asshole?
We'll see what Manchin does for the next 4 years with his policy. Because I told you that his wife was appointed to some Appalachian director of whatever, some federal position for West Virginia. Yeah. And so we'll see what that was for, I think. You know, old Quid Pro Joe up to his old antics, or at least the party they're in. So his wife was appointed, and then like 2 days later, Manchin was out there giving a press conference in favor of one of these positions, as far as like, I think it was the infrastructure bill itself. Oh, so wow. We will see as to which way that was going, because like I said, was he getting the payoff to stymie the things that they didn't want to go through, so that he could be the bad guy instead of Biden, and Biden could just blame him? Or was it to actually get the votes that they wanted for the things that they wanted to push through? So it could go either way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it will be interesting to watch and see what happens there, because it could go the way you're talking about, to where it's like, is he being the bad guy? Yeah. Is he doing that on purpose? We need you to kill this part of the bill and then vote for it? Or are they paying him off to get him on board to do what they want to do? Mm-hmm. It's it'd be interesting to find out.
Either way, it's not a good optic, in my opinion, as far as the gifts and services, or whatever, the bribes, and I don't know.
I just feel like that's just kind of what they do, man. Like, you know, but the way politics is played is like, you have to get something for, for your vote. Right. And that's why, everybody's mad at the squad, because they didn't get shit for their votes. They just voted, and they didn't get anything for them. They didn't play hardball.
Well, I mean, they passed the bill, and then AOC came out and said, well, instead of $2 trillion, we should have asked for 10. And you're like...
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've already seen musings about another stimmy, which I wouldn't be upset about. Hook it up.
I mean, I'm going to spend the money. So I had to buy a new air conditioner, so the other one's like on its last legs. I don't think it'll last this summer. So,
hey, nice.
Yeah, no, it's like $7,600 or something like that. So that sucks.
Wow. But at least you can buy it, right? That's a thing.
That's a thing. I'm a well-paid professional. So this is definitely the side gig.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a professional. I wouldn't say well paid, but I have a job and stuff.
It's funny, when I was looking to move up there, I realized I would have to get a whole bunch of extra certifications or something to make what I'm making now. To
do what now?
To do what I'm doing right now for like. Say Raytheon or something like that, I would have to go on and get like a whole bunch of extra certifications and qualifications, take a bunch of tests, and get a bunch more stuff done. Now I'm probably still going to do it because I should, and I think that's kind of what I want to do when I grow up. But you know,
go work for the military industrial complex.
No, be a consultant.
So, yeah.
I want to do that where I can just like walk into a business and be like, y'all messed up here, 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 and here. Y'all need to fix all of this stuff. You need to line this up. You need to have this go in here. All right, good luck. I'm out. Pay my fee.
Yeah, those guys get paid.
Yeah, that's what I want to. That's what I want to do when I grow up. You do take a massive risk though, I will say, because like if you screw it up, you can go to jail.
Oh.
That's why they get paid.
That's why they get paid a lot of money. Boy.
So speaking of getting paid, to work for the government, you have to have a professional engineering license to like build a road or build a bridge or do something else, and that's why a lot of this costs a lot of money. One complaint from Senate Republicans is that it does not actually address infrastructure but they're using a restrictive definition of the word. Now again, this is Fox here talking about restrictive definitions and things like that, and this is what I mentioned earlier. Plan is not about rebuilding America's backbone, says Mr. McConnell. Less than 6% of this massive proposal goes to roads and bridges. It would spend more money just on electric cars than on bridges, roads, and ports and airports and waterways combined. $115 billion to modernize bridges out of the $2 trillion plan. That's slightly under 6%. And then economists say there's no hard definition of the word infrastructure. So this includes, here you go, replacing lead pipes. There's your Flint, Michigan, expanding broadband access, modernizing schools, in addition to money going towards things traditionally associated with the word infrastructure, like roads, bridges, and airports. We can talk about broadband. I think that is important, and that is infrastructure.
I agree, 100%. I think that needs to be as important as electricity in this country.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. And I think it's definitely a matter of like, so my definition of infrastructure is obviously different than McConnell's or anyone else's. It's those things that's like long-term access you're not going to have short-term rewards on is infrastructure, right? And that can be any number of things, right? Because businesses are very good at short-term rewards, and they usually, unless they're in like a research and development field, because that would be like a business infrastructure, what I would consider that. But unless you're in a research and development field, you are not going to spend most of your money on research and development.
Right.
Right. And I think that kind of is a good analogy for what this balance could be. Do I think that it's a lot? Now, I haven't read that, say Fox's analysis is based on this 25-page fact sheet. So even these guys didn't read the 1,000 or something pages that this bill actually is. They just read the summary and then said, well, here's our analysis. 25-page bullet point list is a long list, though. I will say that.
One thing I was thinking about, you had told me you watched the interview or the debate between Vosh and
Larry Sharp.
And that was really good, actually. I went and watched it after you mentioned it. Mm-hmm. One of the things that Larry Sharp was talking about was that when you tax for a certain thing, inevitably the money from that tax doesn't go to that thing. It gets put in a general fund and it gets,
slushed
put by the wayside.
Yep.
So most of our school improvements happen from municipal bonds, right? Which I think is a loan. And people buy into the bond because it's inevitably that it's going to get paid back through the municipality, right? Yes? it like they tax over the certain time for sales tax or whatever.
Schools and cities can raise money for schools in different ways. Bonds is one of them. Another is through direct taxation, and mostly through taxation. And again, it's through property taxes.
But municipal bonds are the money is raised through investments and then paid back through taxation. Yes?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. So, when they were talking about doing the infrastructure deals and then the money never going to where it's supposed to go, isn't there a rule when you do a municipal bond like that, that money has to, like, you get the cash up front and then that money has to be paid back through the bond?
Right, but
that
is true for bonds.
Right.
It is not necessarily true through direct taxes.
Okay, so my question is if you wanted to, could you do a vote for a bond for infrastructure for the community, for the city? Like if you wanted to do a railway system.
Yes, you could do that through a bond program.
Interesting.
Why don't
we do that?
That's a good question. Most people don't vote for bonds. And the thing is that it's weird. So to raise taxes, there has to be a public vote, right? So the city will have to get together and they'll have to say, all right, we're going to put this on for the next voting day or whatever. They'll set a voting day. They'll try to advertise for it. Did you know that voting turnout for like bonds and taxes in like a normal city is like 5%?
I believe that.
Like out turnout, yeah, it's like 5% or less, right? So there's a very small majority that are actually participating in those votes, and again, because you have to like go vote, right? One of the easiest things I think that would shut up both of the sides as far as like voting rights and voting security is using blockchain technology on your phones, on cell phones.
What does that mean?
So blockchain is basically the Bitcoin security network, right? And what it does is it uses non-centralized servers and everything else. So it distributes data to many, many points. And so like if I have a Bitcoin, that Bitcoin has a serial number. And that serial number is logged on every single server on the network. And if any one of them don't match up, it's like a security notification. Now, what exactly happens then whenever that happens? It's like a fraud alert or something like that. Basically, so if I try to create something and say I have more than I do, it doesn't match up with the other servers, and so it's automatically corrected. And it says, no, you don't have that much. You have this, and this is what all the servers say. And so every transaction is kind of sent out in a networked hub, right? Uganda, we actually had an American company go to Uganda because of the levels of corruption that they had in their own election policies and procedures, and established a little blockchain voting protocol for the entire country of Uganda. This technology already exists. And could you imagine, you're sitting on your phone, and you're like, oh snap, I got an alert, it's voting day. Yeah, all right, I voted. Anyway, carry on with the meeting. It could be that easy. It could be that easy. And it could be as secure, if not more so, than any of the Republican crap has ever come out here.
All right, let's write the bill.
Let's do it.
Infrastructure.
I'm down.
That feels like an infrastructure bill.
I feel like that could be included. And you know what? Like, you can't lie to it. You can't cheat it. Like as far as what we have in today's technology, it's one of the most secure things you could possibly do with a system.
Sounds like it's for me.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And I don't know why. Like this is how I know the Republicans aren't serious about like voter security. If they were, it would use this. And they would renege all all the things about like these things can't be online. No, they would force everything online, and everything would be tracked. Live data updates, vote counting would be so easy because it's all right there at the end of the night. Boom, this is the winner. There's no nightly counting. There's none of this crap about, hey, we're doing the vote count, but we stopped it. None of that would happen.
Yeah, I'm in. Done.
Me too. Yeah, this is the thing I want to see happen, and it would shut up everyone. It's not a discussion. It's not a debate. It's this easy and it's this secure. Why aren't we doing it? I don't know. Because then you can't have Dominion selling $1 billion contracts to states. It would all be on your phone. All those companies would go out of business immediately, which I would be okay with.
Yeah. Well, and then you if you have a cell phone, if you're uploaded into the system automatically, like is my plan, when you turn 18, you log into the thing. This is create your account rather, or whatever. Yeah, I agree, 100%. Yeah. And everybody gets to vote.
And you could have, since it's on an app, you could have like, hey, who does this candidate? Let's see what he looks for. Let's see what he does right there. And you just click on the button. There's this little informational blurb. Here's his voting record. Here's this other stuff. Here's what this bill actually says. Here's what this actually says.
Yeah,
it could all be right there. It could all be right there. And so then you wouldn't be going into the voting booth going like, wait a minute, who is this guy? Texas Railroad Commission. Why is the Texas Railroad Commission important? Oh, they control all the drilling rights in the state of Texas. Oh, that's why. Yeah, okay.
Well, then we don't get the national holiday for voting days. So, because if you could do it all on your phone,
you just want a day off away from those knuckleheads at the school.
I know, because we actually get the national holidays on like most retail places.
Yeah. We are coming up
unlike
on
regular folks.
So we're coming up on 10 o'clock. I've got till 10:30 to keep going. So let's see. We beat infrastructure kind of to death. We got way off topic here. Let's see. Another thing that was here. Manufacturing 300 billion, electric vehicles 170 billion, broadband 100 billion, electric power grid 100 billion. So, yeah, who is Edwards? Cato's is Edwards? Oh, okay, so he works for the Cato Institute. Money being spent, no matter how it's defined, is largely going into the pockets of big corporations. Dude, I saw a due diligence, Wall Street Bets DD on Autodesk. Autodesk is a CAD program. It's an engineering drawing program, and it's basically, this guy's supposition was that because of this bill right here and all the new construction that's going on, the drawing program that engineers and architects are going to be using should go up. Not an investor, not a, I'm just telling my brother here what I saw.
What's the name of this company?
Autodesk. I got to look up its ticker. I haven't done it yet since it's Sunday. I didn't really feel the need to get on that right away.
Wow.
And I don't really have much money to play around with anymore right now until AMC.
Yeah, I got like $50. That's why I want to know what it's being traded at right now.
The company is Autodesk. They make AutoCAD programs and drawings, computer-aided design. So yeah, it was one of the DDs that was basically saying like, hey, this thing is gonna probably skyrocket.
So it's out of my price range.
In the next 4 years. Oh yeah, what is it trading at?
Autodesk is trading at $283.90 right now.
Yeah, it might be the next Tesla. It could go that high. Is what, according to this random and
this one guy
I found on the internet. I don't know. It seemed legit. I was gonna look into it. We'll see. It makes sense to me because I know how that program works and like what we use it for, and he's exactly right that it is like the program on the market for static designs. Really? You want to get into like three-dimensional stuff, you might use like SolidWorks or some of the other programs, but AutoCAD, I'm pretty sure, is number one.
So
been around for a long time.
Apparently, this dude helped out Autodesk a lot because it closed on Thursday at 277.
And its opening was.
And it's.
What did it open at?
It opened at 277.
Okay, I think this
but
was
now
posted.
It's at 283.90.
Yeah, I think this was posted on Saturday. So yesterday I saw it. So
that's overnight trading.
Yeah.
The after hours trading.
The after hours trading. Yeah.
Adobe is 483. Oh my god.
Real quick,
all my money's still tied up in AMC.
Yeah, no, I have nothing to play around with. It'd be cool, but
I bought the dip.
We could tell one of our wealthier friends to check it out. Maybe mention it to Dad. He's probably got some money he can move around.
Yeah. Probably could. I have 5 children. I did okay on the stimmy check.
And it's all accounted for, isn't it?
Oh man, I'm telling you, we're just paying off debt. Really, at this point, we're gonna pay off debt and we're gonna stack some aside. But that's that's really it.
You know what I think is funny is like most conservatives. I say conservative. Most of the right wing people I know around here like took their stimmy check and went out and bought ammo or guns. That's what they did with their money.
That's funny. My friend, my lefty friend, I'm about to plug him. I don't hope he's okay with that. He's hardcore leftist and is about to open up a worker co-op ammunition place.
Like, were they reloading shells or? Are they just going to be a reseller?
Let me see if I can find where he said, because it's weird because he's never trying to find, he's good gravy.
There's a guy around here we used to do business with before he retired from the sales company, and he reloaded his own ammunition, and so like that was just like a thing he did. And I mean, this guy was into it, man. He'd like be testing out different grain powders and different fillings for the rounds he was filling, and he'd go test them out, and he's like, oh yeah, no, I filled up this one like 38 round, and I thought it was gonna blow my gun apart. It was a little bit too strong, so I had to pull all the rest of the bullets out. And oh, this other one, it packed a good hit, and it was good. And he would just like experiment loading up different amounts of powder in his bullets. I wonder if he sells this stuff.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Man, I can't find it. Anyway, so they're about it hasn't opened yet, but they're like 6 weeks away from opening, from what I saw, and it's like they're going to sell ammo and gear, like. Oh wait, says. Nope.
What's it called?
That's what I'm trying to find.
Oh.
That's my issue.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find where he mentioned it. I can probably get him to put it in our comments at the end of when we post our video, because he is one of our viewers. So Eric, if you could put that information into the comments, be greatly appreciated.
Tell you what, that's a great business decision. I commend you for that. That's smart right now, as far as the lowering of supply that it seems.
Yeah. Did I retweet it? No.
Because I think like 4 years ago, the 9mm was like, I don't know, 5-10 cents a round, and now it's like 25-35 cents a round or something like that. And like even the 22 long rifle is like hard to come by, like just at all, just to like get it. The 7.62 rounds are like $1 a piece or something like that if you were trying to get NATO rounds.
Yeah. Well, when that happened, I actually went and bought Dad a bunch of rounds because he couldn't get 9mm rounds down there, and so I could find them up here. Oh, okay. Wait, it's FAFODEF.com. Soon launching Solidarity Co-op to ensure workers, customers, and producers own and manage the organization as we build self-defense that's not dependent on an existing capitalist infrastructure.
Left-friendly co-op dedicated to supporting people's right to arms. Hey man, I'll
check out their gear.
Eric. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can. Let's see if I can. I don't know if I can show it on the YouTubes. Yeah, I can't show this on YouTube.
Oh.
I don't think so.
Oh.
I think it's the second from the top is why I cannot show it. If you're looking at it.
Well, if you go to FAFODEF,
I'm
FAFODEF.
Definitely can't show that.
They have lots of cool stuff, and it appears to be a lefty.
Everything is out of stock. Jeez.
Yeah, I don't think they're up and running yet.
Yeah, they're not. But it's probably going to be out of stock for a little bit. Well, that's cool, man. I'll bookmark that. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Let's see here. Where's my... There's the button. Other bookmarks. All right. I did want to talk about this real quick before we go. Governor DeSantis says vaccine passports are not happening in Florida. Completely unacceptable. Citing civil rights concerns, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis said the COVID vaccinations will not be mandated in Florida and stressed that a vaccine passport, a document showing one's vaccination status, will not be happening in the Sunshine State. I say that 10 times fast.
Wasn't that an idea that was just floated out? Is there any
it's happening in New York. It's already out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Well,
what's going on with that?
So, I don't know if it's in this story. Hold on one sec. So it is already happening in New York. CNN says the Biden administration is working on creating a set of standards for people trying to prove they've been vaccinated, according to administration officials. Working with a range of companies on the thing, multiple government agencies are engaged in conversations, planning, coordinating by the White House. The system will play a role in multiple aspects of life, including potentially the workforce. General White House press secretary said there will be no federal mandate requiring this, which is why we're working on businesses to enforce our rules. No, she didn't say that. She said there will be no centralized universal federal vaccination database. White House expects the private sector to drive a determination or development of a vaccine passport, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm vaccinated. I don't care. So whatever you want to do.
Whatever. It's one of those things where it's like, I want to tell people no until it becomes a problem. Then I'm like, all right, here you go.
I don't know where my card is though. If I'm being honest, hopefully I'm in a database somewhere.
You are.
That I've been vaccinated.
You are. I got an email saying that my records have been updated.
Or at least I can call a pharmacy or something.
Yeah, this is kind of ridiculous right here. Everyone's favorite conspiracy theorist, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a member of Congress from Georgia, branded vaccine passports as, quote, Biden's mark of the beast.
Oh, I saw that.
And fascism or
Speaking
communism
of
or whatever
Marjorie
you want to call
Taylor
it.
Greene, there's a new strain of marijuana out there called the Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it makes you psychotic. No, I don't know. I do know that there's a strain.
You lose your mind.
I do know that there's a new strain that they're calling. It might be an old strain, but then they change the name because they get crazy with the names. But
right,
yeah, one of the new strains is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Is it laced with LSD? Does it make you hallucinate? No.
Hallucinate. I don't know. I just thought that was really funny. I was like, that's fantastic. I want to buy some.
That's pretty funny.
But I live in Texas.
Yeah, so you can't. Sorry about your bad luck. Yeah.
And I don't do anything illegal.
You want to travel next year, you may need a vaccine passport. The thing is, like, okay, so here's my deal, and I have issues kind of on both sides of this discussion. So
I want to encourage everyone who has the opportunity to...
Shut up, Fauci. No one cares. Here's I guess where my annoyance comes in. Is like Republicans are acting like this is something brand new. But like if you travel overseas, you have to have proof of vaccination records in certain areas.
Yes.
Like if you want to go from here to somewhere where there's like a malaria outbreak or tuberculosis or any of these other things, dangerous viruses, yellow fever, if you want to travel to certain areas, you have to have proof of vaccination. Like if you were going to Egypt, right, you'd have to have proof of vaccination for whatever their diseases are in that area. You have to have that, and you have to have your paper documents to show that you can do this. Now, what I think people get upset about is saying like, oh, you just want to like go to the bar and hang out. Do you need to show your papers to like go eat dinner with your family? And while that's annoying, it's not technically outside the realm of acceptable things in my mind, right? Like, I'm upset that this is being passed off as like, oh, it's going to be businesses deciding like whether or not A or B, it's a cop-out from the federal government. Again, like we said with what Abbott did and saying like, well, we're going to remove the mandate, but businesses can decide whether or not they're going to do that. I feel like that's kind of the exact same thing with this like COVID passport, right? Where it's going to be whatever your social norms in the area that you live in is what's going to be the acceptable behavior for moving forward. I think it's a cop-out.
Yeah.
Personally. It's another area where we can have this weird political dividing line on like what's best for the country, but it's like, to me, because they're not taking those measures, obviously it's not that serious. Like that's the way it comes off to me, right?
So,
like if this was
because they're not mandating these measures that it's not that serious, or I'm sorry.
Well, yes, actually, that's a fairly succinct way to put it. Think of it this way: if this was Ebola, and even the least virulent strain of Ebola has a 25% mortality rate, right? Like there's 3 different strains of Ebola virus. There's the 25%, there's the 50%, and there's the 75%. And any one of them can make a person dead within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
right? But these are the various mortality rates of this single virus. Even in the least deadly of these deadly viruses, that would, if we had a serious outbreak where it had gotten airborne and it was as contagious as the coronavirus or something else, there would be federal mandates. Like, you want to talk about like serious lockdowns, people scared, like that's terrifying, right? No doubt about that. But they're saying, okay, well, it's a business choice now. It's obvious that it's not that serious. So now it's a political thing. It's the way it comes off to me.
I feel you. I think, I don't know, man. Like, I think a lot has been lost in the way that this thing started. Like, you know, I think it was this thing has been bungled from the start. Mm-hmm. And so there's been a lot of misinformation coming from all the sides, and I think that, you know, I don't know. There's no way of knowing anymore, because just different people are putting their opinions out there, and there's no consensus on anything. Mm-hmm. You know, you got the dudes that are over there in something you sent me, that they own a clinic and they're doctors, and so they're, you know, giving their professional opinion. Motherfucking Rand Paul, is it Rand Paul? Who's a fucking optometrist.
No, Rand Paul's a brain surgeon, I think.
No.
He's not an optometrist. He's not an eye
No,
doctor.
he's like a ophthalmologist.
Is he? Let's check.
He is not a fucking brain surgeon.
What's on his, let's see here, medical career here. Oh, it is ophthalmology. Okay, I stand corrected. You are correct.
So, like, I'm just saying, like, you're a doctor, great. But you're not an infectious diseases doctor. Mm. We have an infectious disease doctor in our family, and mm-hmm. I'm pretty much, I'm going to look to him. That's who I trust. You know, right. You know what I mean? Like, that's the person who I will, what he says, that's what I believe. Like, well, from everything else aside, that's who I'm going to go with, you know?
You know what was funny is, like, do you remember the year in Thanksgiving when I sliced my arm open? Were you there at his house?
No, I came late that year. Yeah. Y'all were all at the hospital when I showed up for Thanksgiving dinner.
I still have that
got delayed for like 4 hours.
Yeah, and that was the quick version with the doctor and there, like, getting us pushed through the ER, right? So it was pretty funny because he was standing in the room as the nurse came in to, like, tell me how to take care of the wound or whatever, and she sees him and she gets super nervous. And she gives the spiel, and she's like, did I miss anything? You know? And he's like, no, you got everything. That's good. Because he wrote the book and wrote the protocol for their entire hospital as, like, what to do. So, like...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why, like, he's the head of infectious diseases at his particular hospital. Like, he runs that thing. So... Yeah.
Your camera froze for some reason. I'm not sure what you did.
I had a pop-up for Adobe. Is it unfroze yet?
Nope.
Motherfucker. Hold on. That's annoying.
Yeah. Let me see here. Oh, there you are.
Whoa,
whatever you did. There, you're back.
I didn't do anything.
Whatever I did, you're back.
Did you just bang on something?
No, I didn't. I just, like,
I heard a banging noise and then it worked.
I moved some windows around and you popped back up. So I don't know. I think this is all ridiculous though. Like, yeah, here we go. So like even CNN is like, oh well, it's time for the next culture war. Blah blah blah. Like, did you see the video with? You can't even find it on YouTube nowadays. I think it got scrubbed pretty quickly after it came out because the conservatives were like pointing to it, going like, "Ha ha ha, I got you." But it was like, it was the Chris Cuomo on CNN interviewing some lady, and the lady was talking about, I don't know who she was, but she was some expert in her field that they brought on for this discussion. And she came on there saying, I'm going to screw up the quote, but essentially it was like, how are we going to force everyone to get the vaccine if the states are opening up 100% already? Like, this is the carrot, and we're not going to, we can't hit them with the stick anymore because they're already going to have all these rights and freedoms that they're going to be exercising, and we need them to get the vaccine to exercise all these rights and freedoms. And if they're doing it anyway, then we can't force them to get the vaccine. And I'm like, yeah. That's correct.
And
like and it was so like, hey, we can't use these coercive tactics on the entire population of like Florida and Texas because they're already 100% open, right? But like, how are we going to implement this thing that we want to do? And it was like, you're not.
Voluntary.
People are going to make a choice. Like,
right, it's voluntary. And I mean, we're doing okay. We're at about 30% right now.
As far as for the state or for the nation?
For the nation.
Oh, I have no idea. I didn't know either way.
I think we're doing okay, man.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, shit, 30%, man. That's 100 million people. It's pretty good.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like they're rolling them out.
They're what was it? I think that was it Pfizer that got put on hold for blood clots in Canada.
Oh, really?
I think was the only thing that I've seen about that. Yeah.
We're
I don't have.
I think ours.
I just saw it.
I was in 1A because I got lucky. I got the Moderna. That's the one I got.
I think that's also the one we got. So we went Saturday a week ago. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. We're trying to. My wife has heard that the second one is the one that gets you and that'll floor you. So we're trying to plan that one a little bit better as far as like not doing it at the same time.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, like, we didn't do ours at the same time, and it's better that way because, like, it didn't knock me out like it did my wife, but for me, like my arm was sore, like for about 24 hours, and then like it started kind of creeping in this way because you know how blood works. But after about 24 hours, I was fine. But it was.
Did the first one hurt you at all?
No.
Were you like tender or anything?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Like I ain't like, but it put the old lady on her ass. Like she. I mean, like I said, I was sore, and it may have been because I had worked out that day, the day that I went to go get it. Like I'm in like a.
So your muscles were already like shocked, and then you just like stab it.
And it was a shoulder workout. Like I did like a whole like shoulder thing.
Hey, you know what?
Like a shoulder complex.
You're an idiot.
Oh man, I forgot.
that was real dumb.
And so I went in. I was like, "This is gonna suck." Oh well, that was fine.
We have 6 minutes until our designated time. Is there anything you want to touch on real quick? Closing statements.
Let's see. I kind of touched on everything I wanted to touch on. You know.
Did you see the? This is your new rooms here.
Oh, it's much nicer now.
Yeah, they're much nicer now. They have stickers on the door. You can see. These are like little happy clouds. Some of them have hearts. Some of them have hearts now, and so they're little heart rooms. So you can see that they're loved.
Hey, did you know that Jesus is uncanceled today?
Jesus is uncanceled today?
Yeah.
What?
That's what Lauren Boebert, who is also a psychopath, that's what she said. She's the gun lady.
She's the gun lady. Yep, that's her. I saw something funny where like she had been doing like live streams and had her like rifle behind her, and then Biden announced the whatever executive order he was going to be doing or something like that, and then like her next live stream there was no rifle behind her, and some people were like making fun of it, and she was like, no, wait, I told you I moved them all upstairs. So Biden couldn't come take them.
Yeah, that's how
that works, right? Yeah. I think it was a funny little haha.
I don't know, man. I've gotten to the point now where nobody's going to take your guns. They do it every time that a Democrat's in office, so they boost sales. That's what I'm convinced of. They boost their sales because they do this fear-mongering horseshit. And I get it. Because there's a lot of Democrats that do want to take the guns. But, do you know how hard that would be? You know how hard that would be to get it passed, two, like, actually take the guns? Like, you'd have to go into people's houses and take them?
So...
Bruh, impossible.
It's not a matter of we're going to pass this law and instantaneously make everyone a felon or whatever else. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That's not a feasible thing. What conservatives have been talking about and complaining about is more of the creeping legislation. So like the ideas of take the red flag laws, for instance, in Massachusetts, right? There was a guy who was reported on by his neighbor, you know, some Democrat neighbor to a conservative or whatever. And the guy got told, like, hey, FBI, this guy's unstable and he's got a criminal history, we think, and he's got guns. And so they, like, went to his house and killed him, taking his guns to investigate him, right? So, like, things like that have already happened. And again, that's like one instance in one state, you know, one township where it was like, we put out this law with the intent of trying to get guns out of bad guys' hands, right? Or, you know, mentally unstable people. Because, of course, it's not a problem of mental health in this country, it's a problem of guns. And, you know, we can legislate that, but it's hard to legislate mental health. So we're not actually going to do anything about that. We're just going to pass this law that says, hey, we can come to your house.
To legislate mental health, you'd have to legislate all health.
Yeah.
Which we've seen how that's going to work out.
Yeah. On that note, man, we are out of time.
Sweet. I'm going to stop the stream.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone that didn't show up.
Bye, everyone.
Really, really appreciate you watching, tuning in. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to us. We're putting out content as often as we can. Share it with your friends. Get it out there. Get our names out there. Also, hit that bell. Tap that bell right there so that you can get updated when we put out a new video. Rob and I are trying to pump these videos out as often as we can. However, we both have day jobs. We have families, so our schedules have to line up so that we can make a new video. speaking of our day jobs, our opinions and views expressed are our own and in no way represent those of our respective employers. Thank you. Thanks again for watching.